Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Well, hello there, my friends, and welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm your host, Wendy Batten. Today, we are going to continue our sales series, and we're going to talk about the silent salesperson, the unknown hero in your store, and that is your signage. And I'm going to talk today, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts of effective signage for your retail shop. Ones that will actually work to help you make more sales, and they'll also work to help your customers as well too. So grab a pen, let's dig in and get to it. Okay, my friends, so let's talk about signage. Sounds kind of boring sometimes, doesn't it? It's just a sign, Wendy. I hear people say that all the time. We're going to talk about in-store signage today, and I will touch on outdoor signage a little bit at the end, but I do want to mention first and foremost that it's so important for us to be considering all aspects of our business, and I know we know that. And in order to not leave any money on the table, we need to make sure that we are serving our clients with integrity and in serving our clients the best possible way we can. And one of those ways is by educating them and explaining things to them and letting them find the hidden gems in our shop, letting them, letting those signs be helpful to them. So I want you to think of your signage or all over your shop, whether it's directional signage or sales signage or promotional signage, as a silent salesperson. It's a common thread in the industry and retail industry to call your signage the silent salesperson. So I want you to think about your signage. I'm going to give you some actionable steps and some strategy and tips on how to use your signage that I think you'll find really helpful today. And again, thinking about it as your silent salespeople. So when we look at our signs and we go around our shop and we are making signs for our whatever we're doing, we're trying to promote and we want people to pick this up or pick that up. I want you to think about it coming from the same place that you would want your salesperson to come from it, or that you would come from it. When you serve your customer, is the sign helpful? Is it, it's going to be used for influencing and nudging and suggestive selling. That's what we do as salespeople. And we want to make sure that it represents you and your brand. And that's a lot of pressure for a sign, right? But it's true. We want to make sure that our signage is clear. So it's one of the do list. We do want to make sure that it is simple font. We love to see, beautiful script sometimes, and we like to get really creative. We have a lot of creatives listening right now, but we don't want to confuse. So we want to make sure it's legible and clear and not confusing. So not this big, long, drawn out sentence on this sign. So all of your signage needs to be super clear and legible. And I want you to remember the line, if you confuse, you lose. They'll just keep walking by it. They will not pick it up. So I also want you to think about some considerations about influencing our customers. And I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a good way, in a helpful way. Signage can really help your customers make buying decisions. I, for one, love when I see personally, when I'm out shopping and it's, comparing, there's a comparison sign, on a shelf. So if I walk in and I see, a sign that says, this is the starter area, or this is the medium, or this is the pro package, when it comes to different products, I love that because I'm sometimes going to jump right to the pro stuff. If I see something that says, the staff picks, and let me tell you a story. I was in it was a liquor store. It was a wine store. Several years ago. And I'm a little intimidated by buying wine in wine store, or what to buy. And, I kind of know what I like a little bit, but it's like going into your stores as well too, right? They might be just walking around, and sometimes I ask the staff for suggestions, but the staff were all busy. And again, the silent salesperson, on these wine bottles, they had tags, and the tags had a picture of the staff member, and it said Jen's pick and Mark's pick, and Mark's favorite white and Mark's favorite under $20 white or whatever. And I thought that was so brilliant. They were hang tags hanging off the bottles. So I have seen this same strategy work with my clients a lot, putting a table out that says Mary's favorite whatever books, fiction books, or the hidden gem, a hidden gem. Have you seen this? Our staff, our customers' favorite products. A table with a bunch of your customers' favorite picnic products, or our favorite creative products. Our staff's favorite paintbrushes, and each staff member has a different paintbrush. And we all kind of, depending on your brand, depending on the product that you sell, of course, but sticking to your brand and thinking about making signage that helps your clients make decisions, as if you were standing there and you were saying, these are our staff favorites. This is Mary's choice for the week or featured product. This is a little bit personal. It gets a little bit personal. It helps me with a buying decision, helps me make a decision. We also want to think about, again, depending on your clientele, we want to think about even at the counter, having a little sign that's witty and fun, again, depending on your brand, making sure that, it might say something like, you want this, next to the candies that you have at the counter, or the extra little things, or whatever you have to increase your average order value at the counter, those grab and go products that we talk about regularly. Like, that's a big thing, understanding that your signage speaks volumes and can be so helpful to your clients and helpful to you, because that's going to make me grab things, right? So we want to really consider suggestive signing, and how can you do it? What could you do in your shop? And again, back to, when I said I love when it has comparison products, that's actually what happened. I was at a weaving course and I was learning to do some weaving, and it was like the little baby package, the starter package, and then there was a medium package, a little bit bigger, more products, and then there were a larger product and option with all the things and all the tools in it. And, that's really helpful again. And I know we talked about it in our episode number 102. I think we talked about after event planning, having things really clear. And those are all on a on a sales wall in a section. And it's so easy for me. And I can make those decisions without, asking the employee on duty or whatever. So thinking about what could you do and how can you increase your sales, your signage with sales. So another do is have your signage in fun places or unexpected places. So think of, a mat in front of your shop. And again, that could just be with your brand on it. Thinking about signage that way, having it on mirrors. I love seeing near inspirational boards. What are you dreaming of? Asking a question like, what are you dreaming of painting this week? Or what's your, when you think of your favorite book, what's the next book on your list? Something along that lines, something along the inspirational side of things. It can be really fun. One of my very good business BFFs and Inner Circle member, Christy from Revive Vintage, she has a sign on her, she does painted furniture, and she has a sign on there that says, love how this looks on a piece of painted furniture. We teach classes here. We can teach you how to do this. So she's done a couple of things there. We'd love to teach you how, I think is what she says on her signs. And she has them kind of all over the place. Like, it's really fun. Ask us about our workshops. Ask us about our next workshop. And I know these sound like simple things that a lot of you may already be doing, but really being intentional about your signage and where you're placing it and inviting your customer in from a place of being helpful and service is all over all over your shop is reinforcing that brand. It's the silent salesperson. Christy can't be everywhere, so when she might not even think to mention that she has a workshop coming up, but I've just now seen her sign. Even though you probably have a sign up somewhere that says you have workshops, it doesn't mean people are going to see it. So I want you to think about fun in different places and different things and angles that you can do with your workshops as well, or with your signage, sorry. So I also want to remind you that when we have a sign, and I am not talking about sales signs here. I hope you haven't heard me say the word sales. We don't always just have signs for sales. As a matter of fact, if we just have signs for sales, it's going to make us feel kind of blah. Like we're going to become that discount store, and that's not what we are. So think about your signs again all throughout your shop as being a helpful sales tool, not a clearance sign sales. So if we have an important sign, so we have a sign for our workshops, let's say, or we have a really fun corner in our shop, inspirational corner, and we want to just really make sure that that sign and the information that's on there is important, light it up. Having a simple, bright light on your signage, and even if it's on a table and you can light up the sign that says, Mary's favorites or our favorite books, lighting, as we know in merchandising, is really, really important. And just lighting up your sign will be amazing. A featured product, you will see the difference immediately. The next don't, or another don't, is don't dismiss the quality of your signs. And I actually wrote down in my notes, don't be tacky. So I say that with love in my heart because I've seen lots of bad signage. So my question would be to you, does the quality of your sign reflect the quality of your brand? If you see like a kind of half written, messy sign, shoved in a corner, it's like Mary's favorites or on sale today or our staff picks, and it's just kind of, maybe, and handwritten's not a bad thing if it's neat and tidy and to brand. And again, depending on your brand, my signs were all handwritten, but they were written on a branded, logoed card. So it was still fine. And I kept it clear and legible. My writing is pretty good, so I kept mine clear and legible. So I want you to think about the quality of your signs and are they on brand? So stay on brand with your signs. Be very clear, as we mentioned several times. And I want you to look at how it feels. Like, does the sign reflect everything about your brand? And does it make sense for what you're doing? So the people will judge the quality of a product by the quality of a sign. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if there's time and attention put into the sign, that means you have time and attention put into your products and your services and all of the things. And I know most of you listening do. You have that's the one special cool thing about us small independent retailers is that we have heart and we have care, but sometimes we forget the obvious. Like, this is an obvious thing sometimes, but now you might be going, oh yeah, right, I kind of do just slap signs on there. We need to just make sure we're extending that brand, that customer experience throughout with all our signs. So, and this will help your sales. I promise. This is part of our sales. So I want to, so we talked about making sure we had it in fun places. We lit it up. We're not being tacky about it. We are staying on brand. We're being eye-catching. We're being super eye-catching. Having, again, to your brand, being witty and fun. If that's the type of brand you are, which a lot of you probably are, you want to make sure that that's all making sense and reflective of your signage, right? So we want to use signs. I'm just going to recap. We want to use signs to be our silent sales person. So every time you put a sign up, I want you to think about, is this being helpful, and how can we encourage sales to the next thing and the next thing, and how can we encourage customers impulse buying, and how can we encourage and nudge customers to pick this hidden gem up, make sure they're branded, and make sure it's all very clear. One thing I also want to mention about outdoor signage, I said I would talk to you a little bit about that. Again, clear and branded. We want to make sure that your outdoor signage is super clear as to what you do and who you are. I see a lot of signs that are so clever and cute and they're charming, but they don't tell me what's inside the store. So I want you to ask yourself, does your logo can be up there, but then have the words that say who you are and what you do. The reason for outdoor signs is to attract new customers who may be walking by, driving by, but it's also so customers can find you if they're looking for you, right? So we want to make sure that your brand's outside and it's very clear. An overlooked thing about outdoor signs, customers are, if they're walking or if they're parking and coming in, I want you to remember they're not looking at your ceiling. If you only have your roof, your canopy or whatever, if your sign is way up high, which you've done for traffic and, if it looks really good on your building, remember, I'm at eye level when I'm walking in your door. So make sure that there's lots of signage as I'm walking in at eye level. Or if you have a eye level street level and you want walk-in traffic, it's really important that we have eye level signage as well. You want to draw me in with that signage. So you want to have a call to action. If you have a sandwich board outside, we want to make sure that it's not just the same old that everybody else has on the street. What are you doing to be a little bit different? Outdoor signage definitely needs to be branded, but what are you doing to be a little bit different that draws me in and it's easy to read again and has a call to action? Ask me to come in. Come on in. Today's, we have a feature or whatever you need to do on your sign. I want you to make sure that there's a call to action. So your outdoor sign has to be clear. It has to attract new people and be directional so that I can find you. Eye level, easy to read. Light it up if you can. That's a great, just like in store, light it up if you can. And we want to make sure that it's drawing me in. So it has a call to action on there, right? So I hope that you found this helpful. One thing I want to leave you with as an action item and an action step, just one simple thing you can do today is to go around your shop and evaluate your signage, your signage situation. Are your signs branded or are they just generic? Like when I'm walking through your shop, do I know over and over again who you are, like the name of your shop or your logo and your brand, who you are? And do they feel like the same person? Do they feel like they are a silent salesperson? And where are the opportunities that you're missing? Like where are opportunities? Like what could you feature this week? Or what kind of signs could we add that would make an impulse buy a little bit better? Where could we write, the favorites, your employee favorites or your customers' favorites? And if you want to level up a little bit, you want to just level up, here's a secret, not a secret, but a level up tip for you because I love you. So I want to give you an extra little tip. If like those wine tags that I shared with you, the story I shared with you earlier, they had people's faces on them. And I thought that was really cool. I had zero connection with this wine store, by the way. I didn't know any of the staff there, but it was like this level of authority when it said there was a picture of Mary and it was Mary's white wine, Mary's top wine pick or whatever. Like that for some reason that just leveled up that store in my eyes. I'm still talking about it all these years later. It leveled up my trust in the people that were there. And I didn't know them at all. Maybe they didn't even know wine. I didn't know. But it just levels everything up and puts a trust and a humanized factor to it. So if you can, a picture of your staff might be a really great thing. Or better yet, what about a picture of your customers? Nowadays, it's so easy for us to print up signs and do things just, with a few clicks of a button on our computers, and printers now are so great. What if we had our top customer pick or our customers' favorites, and literally Mary was a customer, our customer Mary loves these types of paints, I don't know, or whatever you're doing. Just think about that, percolate on that, get creative, tell me what you're going to do. I would love to know if that sparks any ideas for you, any ideas for different creative signs or any actual customer sales and action. I would love to see that. So I want to also remind you, I always say we have to measure it, right? We can't grow what we don't measure, and we don't know if things are working if we're not measuring it. So a really quick way for you to measure this and to see if it's working is put something on sale, or put a sign on a sale table or a table that says Mary's favorites or our staff picks or whatever. Pick a product, watch the product line, pick a date, make sure you know what date you're doing them on, and then check your POS system. See if your sales increase. See if there is a difference. Is there a different conversation happening around that table occasionally with your in-person staff? Signage is not meant to take away from your salespeople. It is there to enhance your salespeople. But start measuring it. See if there is a difference. Really pay attention to these little experiments and see what's working. See what resonates with your customers, because it's all about them, my friends. It's a customer experience, and increasing the sales and increasing their trust in you will make them pick up those impulse buys and purchase them from you. So there you have it, my friends. The second part of our sales series. I hope that you found it helpful, and I hope to see you here next week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here on the podcast. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you join our Rockstar Creatives Facebook group. We will continue the conversation over there weekly. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.